Well, just before we came on the air, I spoke to Pyotr Verzilov, Russian activist and husband of one of the Pussy Riot's members. I asked him how long these protests were going to continue, he thought.
Well, it's really hard to say right now, since they've basically started for the first time a week ago, and at this scale they've been going on for the last 3 days, and to their maximum point since Sunday. And I think everything will depend on the results of the negotiations between the opposition parliament members and the government. Because, for example, for tomorrow morning is scheduled a very important vote, which will give the answer to the question, will the parliament be able to make President Yanukovych to resign and make the cabinet of ministers to resign or not? And this will really depend on how long the protests will continue to go on here.
You know, the government is talking about this as being a sort of coup or attempted coup. That is a little what it looks like.
Well, obviously, it does not look like a coup from Ukraine and for the hundreds of thousands of people down here, because, well, to them, it was simply an act of taking to the streets and trying to defend what they think is their right to live in a civilized country, to be a part of the European community, and this is what
this is
most
a democratically
Ukrainians
elected government, isn't it?
At the same time, these people really did not, when they elected President Yanukovych, they did not sign to the fact that they will be basically dealing with the situation when President Yanukovych will be coming under the influence of President Putin and making decisions that most Ukrainians definitely do not agree with. So this is why there are so many people on the street, and this is why the protests have reached to a scale that they have reached right now.
But the protests seem to an outsider hardly to be politically coherent. There are extreme nationalists among the protesters, aren't there?
Well, I wouldn't say that the extreme nationalists are actually playing a very important political role here, because obviously from a purely political side, the protests are headed by 3 members of the 3 opposition factions inside the parliament, and 2 of those members are not nationalists at all.
So you really think that President Yanukovych is going to resign, do you?
Well, it's hard to say what the government will actually choose as their response to the protests right now. But definitely, President Yanukovych and his government will start making very important negotiation offers to the opposition right now, because it is clear that these protests have reached a scale that nobody's able to ignore them anymore. So the government will be making moves towards satisfying the demands of the opposition and the people outside on the streets of Kiev.
OK, thank you very much indeed.